Hello and welcome back to Tommy's Top Picks Weekly Roundup podcast. I'm your host, Tommy, joined by John.
How's it going?
It's going. It's been a month of a week.
It is.
Now the Pokemon market was soaring. Now it's dead.
It's dead. It's totally crashed.
Totally crashed, burned. It's over. Go home.
That's right.
You're holding bags.
When I buy Pokemon, it crashes immediately after.
Yep. There's your green flag, your red flag, however you want to see it. For when the Pokemon market dies, just when John buys it, that's your sign.
That's
over. We'll get into that, and then we're going to talk about how Magic is next to die.
Yep. Doomed.
So, doomed. But if I can pull up my notes in my many windows that I opened too many of those, we're going to talk about how we played this week. We didn't play much this week.
Nope.
I played the TCG Player Store game this week a lot.
Best game.
It's a very fun game. Consume most of my evenings and weekend, actually. New record of inventory levels. 21,000 cards.
Damn.
And nowhere close to done, John.
What is it mostly? Is it Magic? Is it Star Wars?
Right now, probably equal Fab Star Wars Magic. But I did Star Wars first, and then I did Fab, and then got frustrated and switched to Magic and haven't switched back.
Yeah, I get that. I was just curious on that. With that many cards, like how many of what?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty equal, but the Star Wars has been selling a lot really well. I just think there are I'm competing with fewer stores, I think, in that game.
For sure.
And basically with the amount of product that I opened to the first two sets.
Yep.
I just, when people want an order, I have all the cards they need. So
did I sell my boxes?
Your Star Wars boxes?
Mm-hmm.
Sell them. I listed mine.
And this is my one for the shelf.
I'm keeping one for the shelf.
Do I care? I never even played the game. I'm not going to have nostalgia for it other than remembering you talk about it.
Sell it to me before you sell it to TCG Player.
Why?
What?
Is it really bad price on there or something? Like what? Why would I?
Well, I mean, it's only like, I think it's the first set's going for 90 something.
It's not terrible, but
no, it's not terrible. But I mean, it was 200 at its peak. But then it got its printing under control. I guess we can talk about Star Wars for a little bit. I didn't play much. The only thing I played was Arena, and I just knocked the quests out with a couple of the starter decks and the mono white life gain deck, which I've been having a lot of fun with. Works really well for any quest that you have to play 30 white cards, because you can just stall the game and actually play the game of completing the quest instead of playing the Magic game and just live for a long time. You don't have a win con, but you get the quest done in one game. I did play 30 white cards in one game, which was pretty fun.
That's funny. I did not play anything. I'm
No.
playing the game of John got a promotion, and it's a lot of work to catch up on until I can get in a regular pace. Yay, that game.
That game sounds boring as heck.
It's not actually boring.
No, I know.
Well, I mean, which I get bored at work a lot, so it's pretty cool that it's not boring. But
no, I mean, it's super exciting, and congratulations. I just mean, compared to playing Magic with friends or something.
I know, right? Yeah, 6 a.m. every day starting time.
Nope. Nope.
It's fine.
Yeah, Star Wars. I've watched, there's a decent amount of Star Wars YouTubers out there, and one that I won't name, but seems to be out of the UK, is out of the UK, put up a video this week talking about how they are out. They are still willing to play. They still enjoy the game, but financially they are unwilling to hold a large sum of money invested in the game pieces for Star Wars. which I think is totally understandable. And that's kind of exactly where I'm at. I love playing the game. If friends were like, "Hey, come draft Star Wars," I'd be there in a heartbeat. If or even Seal, or the boxes have had a lot of issues, and it's making me nervous with the introduction of the collector boxes in this next set. If the regular boxes aren't holding up as is, introducing a newer, flashier one, what's that going to do to the normal boxes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do. It's a concerning
We've seen this
situation in that product. Yeah,
before.
exactly. And not only have we seen it before, but it's like this product from day one never promised collectability.
No,
So
exactly.
going hard on collectability in this was always, I mean, I said that from the very beginning. I was like, I don't know. This company has a tendency to print to demand, basically. So sure, there might be a big bubble, if they, which they did. They screwed up the print runs in the beginning, but it's going to be corrected, and we're at that point. So
yeah, and don't get me wrong, I don't feel shorted by the game at all because I've made I've made my money back 2 times over.
Yeah,
selling the singles.
It worked.
It worked very well for me. So, but I just see that road stopping now, and don't feel like continuing down that road because we are in a very bull market in TCGs, and that could end next month or that could end in 3 years. So, just kind of taking profits where they lie, and if this does not bring me joy, it's gone right now, kind of thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, and I mean, the cards are abundant. So if I ever want to get back in and play, I'll just buy the deck.
True. Probably wouldn't even be that expensive.
Exactly. But it's just, I feel like in this, I feel like it's just like you were saying, not exclusively talking about collectivity and then just going full into it. And then on the same note, the amount that they reprint cards, like they reprinted cards in set 2 that were in set 1, like commons and uncommons.
Yep.
And it's just like, this feels bad.
They're constructing for a drafted format. Like they designed the game as a game with game thoughts in mind.
Yes.
The collectability was always secondary. It just happened to be crazy in the beginning because they misjudged.
Because Star Wars.
Yeah. And it's now reverting to probably what they always planned it to be, which is abundant cards, cool draft experience. It's a game. Enjoy your game pieces. That's what it's for. Like, and then you can have a fancy layered deck. You know what I mean? Like,
and
that's the idea. It's not supposed to be like, this is $1 million card.
Correct.
It will never be. It's not intending to be. It doesn't want to be. It's never promised it. You know what I mean? So don't think of it that way, and you're going to have a good time. Think of it that way and be disappointed.
Yes. So that's why I offered to grab that set 1 box off of you, because I'm willing to let set 2 boxes go because I did not enjoy that set from a draft experience. But set 1, I really enjoyed. So the value is there in that. I would not be cracking it for singles. I'd be cracking it to draft with friends.
That makes sense.
But I wouldn't pay $90, but close to it. Or $90 plus shipping plus tax plus all the nonsense. But
Strahd Remastered, since we played this week with Star Wars. It's fine. We didn't play much this week, so Star Wars was a perfect weird. I don't know exactly how it got into the conversation. Yeah, but whatever.
So Innistrad, looking at it, came out last week. We have play boxes at 165 and collectors at 319. So we had that TCG player sale where they were 155. And then they seem to, so like there's 450 listed, so there's still plenty, but it's selling 10 a day.
Yeah. Let me get to the data on this on Cardboard Finance. I want to compare it to some of the other stuff,
Yeah.
Because now we have the data, it's post. All right. Where is it? Where is it? It's not on here. Oh no. Do they not? Oh yeah, it is. So 1.15 million in sales, 5,100 boxes. It's actually a really low release. Well, okay, this is never mind. I'm comparing to totals. Let me do the comparison tool.
Sure. Yeah, because it just came out.
Yeah, exactly. It hasn't had as much time. Innistrad, and let's do Foundations. Because that was pretty killer. We were released 30 days. We just finished release, right? Like a week ago.
Yeah.
Do pre-release numbers. It's a little lower than Foundations. 2K lower. About this actually higher dollar amount though, so that means people are buying into the collector boxes, I assume, more.
I'd assume so.
Yeah, than with Foundations.
Yeah, I don't think Foundations did well pre-release.
Right, exactly. It was afterwards when everyone was like, "Oh crap, they don't have any."
Yeah, yeah.
I was about to do a Bloomberg, but that's probably not fair. Let's find another remastered.
Yeah, it'd be interesting against Ravnica. Because that was the last one, right?
I think so, yeah. Well,
and that also.
But Ravnica was the freaking turd of the year. You remember? You want to hear the numbers? This is sad.
Oh, okay.
Ravnica was 1,000 boxes, 220,000 in sales, versus Innistrad's 5,000 boxes and 1,159,000 in sales, which is crazy. Huge difference. My God.
Do you remember what the TCG player sale was for it, if there was one?
I don't think there was one. I think that was before then.
Yeah.
Because that was way back before
that could have helped
anyone
too.
believed in the sets. You know what I mean?
Right. And it was a different time.
It was.
It's gonna be really interesting.
That was like the very end, because after that, I think is when was it Ixalan and then Wilds of Eldraine came out and they went bonkers, right?
Yeah.
And then no one really looked back at Ravnica and realized that it was the same kind of print structure until later.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think it'll be really interesting at the 60, 90 days out for Innistrad. Because if the rumors are true that it's just a one print and done and that's it, because it's out at distributor or limited how many you can get. Like you can't even order a case last time I looked.
Yeah.
Like stores can't order a case. So
I am willing to bet that is a bunch of BS.
Yeah, I agree.
And the distributors are holding back specifically to make extra money.
Yeah, that's
they
too
realize that there's this extra demand, a little extra demand, minus on supply a little bit, and then they're like accentuating that. I'm not sure if that's the right word for that.
I mean, I've been hearing
on that.
Yeah, I've been hearing horror stories of the Pokemon stuff coming through distribution now.
Like what? What kind?
It just being at much higher prices than it's been before for restocking.
Oh yeah, overcharging for it because it's such a high demand.
Yeah. So I wonder if the same thing is happening with Magic.
That's a question. That's actually a really good question.
Because I mean, you can see it. I mean, if you go on Cardboard Finance or you go on TCG Player, the standard sets are moving. Like Duskmourn moves. Like a lot of boxes move. And Bloomburrow and Foundations.
Bloomburrow I get. Foundations I get. Duskmourn, I'm a little surprised.
There's a lot of standard cards in Duskmourn. Like whenever I'm crafting decks on Arena,
it always has Duskmourn cards.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think it's one of those sets that people just were turned off by the flavor.
Well, that's why I was surprised. I was like, it wasn't exactly well received on release.
No. But I mean, you and I really enjoyed the draft.
We did. It was fun.
The other bundle showed up, so we're good for the next time. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great limited set, and there's a lot of strength in it.
What was something that came out right before or right after Duskmourn?
Trying
to think.
Foundations was after.
It wasn't Karlov, right?
No. Bloomburrow was between.
Bloomburrow, that's right.
So it was Foundations, Duskmourn, Bloomburrow, Outlaws. Karlov.
Jesus. So I was wrong. Like my sense on Dustmorn, totally wrong. 20,000 boxes for pre-release.
Yeah.
It's way more popular than I realized.
It's very popular. Yeah, look at the
Yeah.
collector boxes.
Yeah.
There's
It's
not many.
nuts.
There's not much of it.
Man, I thought it sucked.
No, it's a strong.
I did
There's
not
power in
like
that set.
opening that box.
There's power in that set.
Yeah. I guess they just all went in my collection for deck building time later.
And the value,
like
the value's not very spiky, but it's very wide. There's a lot of like $3 to $10 cards.
Oh, nice. Probably
So like,
time I'm willing to sell them, they won't be though.
Well, true. Yeah, as long as they're in standard and standard rotates.
Exactly. I'm not gonna get rid of them anytime soon. They went into my box of building commander stuff.
Yeah.
Although there is that one commander I want to build, that mill monster. Did you see that one? That
Looks pretty cool.
But. All right, moving on. Aether.
The
big hype.
Super hype.
Super hype for the Aether Drift. Not me. I don't like vehicles. Nope. Not a fan of vehicles.
That's fair. They're not for everybody.
Nah. And I mean, to be fair, there's lots of non-vehicle stuff in it, but this is a set to me feels like I should just buy the singles I want. I don't think there's
every
a
set.
lot in there I'm into. Not for me. For me, I'll buy it just to open it up. Like I'm not even gonna buy a collector's box of this one.
Interesting.
Because I just don't. There's not much that I'm super hyped about, except for what's gonna be something stupid rare. So might as well just buy the single. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what was that? The new Black Lotus?
Yeah.
What was that called? Do you remember?
You're
going to call it the new Black Lotus.
Yes.
I'm not even seeing it on TCG Player. Shoot. Was it the Aether Spark? No, it wasn't the Aether Spark.
Radiant Lotus.
Was it?
Radiant
Lotus, yeah. So apparently this card is bonkers, according to articles. Because the way you can target makes it not a mana ability, I guess. Therefore, it doesn't have some of the limitations that the other ones do. I don't fully understand it. I know that there's mechanics that are tricky around it, so you can basically double mana. Originally, I thought it was too expensive and was going to be slow, but I think the idea is that, yeah, it is too expensive, but you can essentially get to game win immediately using it.
Yeah.
So, which is cool. I didn't realize it. More complex than mechanics than I'm familiar with. I don't understand what they're talking about with this.
Yeah, you sent me that article. It went above my head.
Yeah, I was like,
this is some commander nonsense.
Targets. Yeah, I was like, because it targets, it's not a mana ability, and therefore some mechanic or another impacts it and allows this, that, and the other. I don't know. Whatever it was, people were hyped about it. Which makes it a more valuable chase card. It was already going to be a chase card, right?
Yeah.
And now it's a more
Lotus.
valuable chase card. Yeah, exactly. And they're doing it in the box topper gold Pokemon card style.
Well, they're doing it the showcase you can get the showcase and collectors. You can get the
showcase different. I didn't even notice.
There's a showcase one, there's a normal one, and then there's the first place finish in the box topper. And the first place finish you can only get in box toppers, which you can only get on play box. You get one in a play box, one in a collector box, and 2 in that special large gift bundle thing. That's $80.
Oh. I didn't realize that. Interesting. That adds some value to those.
Yes. Yeah. I think those will do very well.
Yeah, I hate this Pokemon.
Yeah, they're pre-selling for $125.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, that sounds like they juiced that correctly.
Yeah.
I hope they stop with this Pokemon nonsense. I guess it's that time. They're like, all the Pokemon people are touching on Magic. This first gen Pokemon people. So we got to appeal to their nostalgia by stealing the art of Pokemon.
Yep. What do you think Loot is? Loot's a Pokemon.
It's so bad. This fractal foil looks just like a Pokemon card.
Yeah.
The yellow is the exact same yellow on Pokemon cards.
Old Pokemon cards.
Yeah, the
They have
old
the silver border
exactly.
now.
They're trying to pull the adult Pokemon people.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, there's a lot of 30-something Pokemon kids that grew up and have jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and we want them to play Magic.
Yeah. Because they feel a little self-conscious playing with Pokemon cards in their 30s.
That's right. They go to a tournament and they're like, I just spiked an 8-year-old.
Yep. Where's a game for me? Oh, here's Magic.
Yeah. Wait, what are they playing at that table over there?
Yeah.
With people my age.
With the people with beards.
Yeah. That's not nice. We shouldn't characterize it as
No.
like do what you want.
Absolutely.
It brings you joy.
Absolutely.
Don't spike
Absolutely.
8-year-olds though.
No, there
Make
are
them have a good time. That's not nice.
That's not even how Pokemon works. I won't even entertain it because there is a junior division and a senior division when it comes to Pokemon tournaments, even at the local level.
Gotcha.
So you will not be playing against 8-year-olds if you decide to go play Pokemon.
Why are you spiking 8-year-olds? It's just rude. All right. Well, this is Magic, not for me. It's fine.
You got Tarkir coming up next.
Yeah. They're gonna give me my old school feel soon. I know, and they did a lot of it recently.
And then they'll give you your Final Fantasy.
Oh, I didn't talk about. I opened Innistrad. I didn't talk about that last week, did I?
No.
Yeah, I opened the Innistrad.
You hated it. It was the worst.
It was not the worst, but it wasn't my favorite, which I wasn't sure on because I liked the last remastered a lot. I liked the throwback style, right, which was in this Innistrad box. They had the thick borders, I like that style. I didn't feel like I got my value out of it. I didn't actually do a full price check on everything, which I guess I probably should have just to see if I did. But I did pull the Colossus. It's not the Crater Hoof, but the other one that's kind of big green bad. It's a finisher. It's used in a lot of green decks. The Colossus. I can't remember what it's called. Something Colossus. No, it's called something Colossus. Costs like 4 and then 3 green or some crap. It's like crazy expensive, but it's a game finisher. Cultivator Colossus. That's it. Pulled 2 different versions of it, and I think that's what I didn't like about it. It felt clumpy on pulls. So ended up with too many of the same things. Although I did get 3 of the posters with 2 of them in one pack. So again, clumpy.
Some of the posters are not holding up as well as I thought.
Yeah, I don't think they will because they're common enough, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem. You don't know.
It's not like Lord of the Rings posters.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the value in this is in the 1 of 500.
I don't know if a lot of value, but I think that's a factor for the boxes for that.
For the box price is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What's holding it up from falling further?
Yeah. So, anyways, it was okay. Not my favorite. Not the worst. Mostly because it felt clumpy. Felt like I was getting the same stuff, multiple types of the same thing. Like I'd get the old border and then I'd get the like no border or whatever, like in the same pack. Stupid.
Yeah.
No one likes that. Don't build packs like that.
No. I mean, honestly, what I'm most excited for with this set is to draft it with you. So
yeah, I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I got a play box for us to crack open, and we can do sealed first, so we get used to the cards, and then can draft. Because I heard sealed is actually really good with this. Like it's pretty easy to just. You have a couple choices usually when you play sealed, is from what I've heard. But yeah, and it'll break apart because we've been drafting a lot of standard sets. So it'll be fun to do something like this.
Yeah, designed for it. Aether Drift prices.
Yeah, going a little wild.
Huge sale.
Huge sale. 105 for the play boxes while it lasted. Now they're up to 125.
I mean, which is where they were before this.
Yeah.
They didn't really move, but it did sell like 4,000 boxes or something like that. So
yeah, almost. Yeah, 3,000 during the sale, and then we're at like 3,700.
That means
40 selling a day.
Does that mean the set isn't really hype? Like, isn't selling? Is that why they did the sale?
No, I think there's just a sale for Magic, whether it's collectors or play. I don't know what indicators determine which one they do. This one was on Play and the Commanders, actually. So, which means that it'll be interesting to see the next time they do a TCG player sale like that for a set and it's the collector box that's on sale. Because I think Karlov or Outlaws was the last one they did that. No, Outlaws was Play, I'm pretty sure. I think Karlov may have been the last collector.
That set did terrible.
Yeah.
This is why I think it. I don't know. We'll have to see what the post-release numbers are.
But no, what I'm saying is they didn't put the collector of Aether Drift on this.
Oh, okay.
They did the collector for Karlov.
Okay, they did Play for this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I have a feeling it's not doing well.
I mean, ever since spoilers were fully out, I mean, it's sold at least 50 boxes a day. 2 days were around 100. One was sold 137.
I just don't know if that's good
Yeah.
for a standard set pre-release.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because we'll have two interesting data points, one for a remastered set, one for a standard set, where they just do the one serialized of 500.
Yeah, that's going to be different. And they're like right on top of each other, which I'm sure eats up
Right.
their
So
people's wallets, if you will.
Right. Because we just had that out last week, and pre-release is this upcoming Friday.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts sets like that. You know what I mean? Which that might be why they did the vehicle set, because vehicles aren't like the most popular thing.
Sure.
It might be why they did it right after. They're like, that's fine. We know this one is going to be a tough set. Let's just throw something in there that at least covers X, Y, and Z, because it definitely does some mechanical stuff that looks like is nice setup for future. So it's not like it's a bad set in of itself. It's just like the hype, the wallets, those are all factors.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see once this comes out.
Yeah.
I think play boxes will be readily available for a long time.
Sure. I should hope so. It's standard.
Although I wouldn't. Recently. Yeah, well, exactly, because you look at Bloomborough Play.
Yep.
Like
that got a reprint too, didn't it?
It just did.
Yeah.
So that dropped down to 130. So it hit 150 at just like a week or two ago. And then stores got more, and then it jumped back down to 130. Which I think is a healthy spot for it now that it's the 36 and compared to 30. All perspectives are changing, and it's weird.
Yeah, we're in the midst of a shift in the market.
But like, how much, like, once this new stock of Bloomborough goes through, is there still high pressure demand?
I think it depends on macro.
Yeah.
More than anything at that point, because it's a timing thing, right?
Yeah. So I think if untouched from macroeconomics, I think Magic has a really good year. But we don't know.
Well, we'll find
I think they're set up on a path to do very well, because Aether Drift was the one that we were the most down on. And I still think it's going to do decently well.
From a theme standpoint, yeah, I think they're lined up for the rest of the year to feel pretty good. So we should feel pretty hype at each next set going into the end of the year. Maybe there's one miss along there. I'm not sure. Like once we start seeing spoilers, everyone's like, eh. Because we had that before where it's like, oh, these are definitely going to be killer sets. And then we got to them and we're like, not that exciting. Yeah. So I think that's very viable possibility. We'll just see where their print runs are versus, where people can afford and whatever else.
Mm-hmm. Do they run into a supply problem, do you think?
See, this is the problem. They're adjusting everything right now. They just changed the number of packs in a box, right? With this upcoming set. We don't really know what that looks like in the market.
Right.
Is that going to work? Is that not going to work, right? Does that help?
Does that increase demand because now a box is affordable to more people?
Yeah, that's what I'm and then are they printing the same amount as they were before? And is that like
Or is that
off
just
kilter
yeah?
pricing and stuff. You know what I mean? That's why I'm like, we have to see this data before we even have a chance to estimate the rest of the year. This first data point, you know.
If only they could stay consistent long enough for us to see a trend.
I like conspiracy theory tinfoil hat makes me say they know that there's a potential risk in the markets. Just the threats of tariffs and stuff, they know have a chance to affect them. They don't know what that means, and they're just making a little movement.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking about it that way, I think they make it noisy and hard to analyze what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
like it could be
they
this,
do
but
a
they also
change
did
every
this, but
3
they
months.
also did
Exactly.
this.
And you don't know exactly what's
Mhm.
happening. You can't guesstimate, you know, things like the supply or the amount of sales until the quarterly earnings come out and we see what that looks like.
Yeah.
But if they come out, they don't look good, and it's the midst of the beginning of a recession and everyone else has bad, you know, quarterly earnings.
Mhm.
Hey, guess what? You get a free pass from investors.
Mhm.
You know, like, so I don't know. Again, conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat time is what I'm saying there. I'm not saying that's accurate or what they're doing. I'm saying, like, if I had my tinfoil hat on.
Sure. Sure. Brace for impact.
Yeah.
Don't run into the wall full speed.
So, the topic of the day, Pokemon.
It's dead. Sword and Shield leveled off. Is retracing a little bit.
Destroyed.
Battle Style is still available on Pokemon Center.
No one is surprised.
Yeah. Cases have moved up in price on TCG Player, but have not sold for a while on the new price.
Basically, not since we've talked about it. Those two had already sold by the time we talked about Battle Styles. So yeah, it's at 12. No one's putting it under that price on the market, really. I guess it's like 11 something, but so it's not going down. There's not a burst of supply, even though it's still on Pokemon Center. But it's also
a lot of these could be going to Ribbon Shippers.
It's true. You know, maybe it does end up getting burned. Although,
or
can
they
you
just
ship
get
battle styles? Like, will anyone sign up for that?
I'd be curious how many, because you need a TCG Player account, and I have noticed a lot of the new pressure to cool off the rising prices of both Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield have been a lot of new sellers. So people are letting go of product. I did. I let go of all of mine. Mine are all gone now.
Well, I got these
honestly pretty happy about it.
And those Lost Origin bundles are still on my shelf. And I think I have like a Celebrations ETB, maybe something. I have at least one, maybe two ETBs.
Those bumped. Those are over $100 now. Those are like 115.
Yeah, I saw. I'm just not gonna sell them at that price. Keep pushing. I sold one. I think that was the one I had two of.
Yeah, there are too many of them. Too big of a thing. I just moved them.
Well, maybe I don't have it anymore. I might have ended up selling that. I don't see it. Oh wait, no, there's.
Yeah. I think I have one.
I think it's just the Celebrations ETB up there still.
I have one Sword and Shield base ETB left, I think.
I think that's all my Pokemon. I think I am literally out after that, though.
Yeah. Sold well. Sold fast.
Yeah, totally.
But I mean, just where I was going with that was, if the new sellers are coming to the market, that means people have to make a TCG Player account, get it up, and then be able to get to a level to be able to sell those.
Yeah.
That's your sign of it's gone too high, because now a lot of people are letting it go. And then, so the new supply coming to market will push that back down. I think that's only temporary.
No, man. Battle Styles to 1 million.
No. Nope.
If you are currently working on your TCG Player account to get to a level where you can sell a case of Battle Styles, don't do that. That's not the goal. Definitely don't do that. No. Battle Styles, it will go up eventually because everything does in Pokemon, but it's going to be the last thing. It has been the whole time, every step of this freaking way. It has been the weakest Sword and Shield Pokemon since I've been looking at Pokemon.
Yeah. I'm not touching it.
I got it. I put it on my shelf.
Oh, I know.
Fine.
I know.
Fine. Sitting in my basement. Fine.
Oh. Yeah.
Did you? What's
Hmm?
up?
I think there are a lot of the difference, the kind of the path I'm making, right? And the reasoning behind moving out of Pokemon while it's in this hot market and it's easy to sell it, moving it to Magic collectors with the idea that these print runs really are lower. And I think the growth in Pokemon is going to be stalled by the amount of people that are holding on to it purely for it goes up and not actual interest of the cards. And I think actual interest of the cards is much lower than supply that's actually out there. And compared to Magic collectors, where I think the demand is higher than the supply is out there over the next 5 years.
Probably with a few exceptions.
Sure, of
like
course, of
certain
course.
boxes that are just
Both though.
yeah.
Like, of course, obviously, there's more demand for Journeying Together than there is for Battle Styles, right? So,
Right, clearly.
just like I think there'll be more demand for Modern Horizons 3 than there will be for Murders.
Sure.
But, and I do think with the way gambling is going in this country,
Mhm.
I think collector packs are primed to be quite the lottery ticket. Just the amount of articles and reports I'm reading on sports betting and how out of control it's getting, and then connecting that with rip and chips in a very similar way.
Interesting.
And the
Never
amount
really thought
of
to put those together.
and I've been just to do some research before coming onto the pod. I have never purchased a card on a rip and chip. I never plan to. I enjoy opening packs, but I would never pay someone else to open a pack for me. Like, pay a premium for the convenience of somebody else opening a pack for me. I would never pay that. But I was just flipping through to see like what was selling, right? The amount of streams doing Magic Collector Pack rip and chips, it's a decent amount.
Huh.
So that's a drain on the market that's constantly on. And like from when I started watching to like now, last night when I was watching, the prices of the packs are going up. And the prices of the packs and what they sell at will surprise you compared to what you can actually just get them yourself for.
Yeah, that seems silly.
Yes. But they're selling, and they'll make comments about different sets about like they're not sure if they'll be able to get more or if it makes sense, or asks the group what they're going to want to open and if prices are going to be okay, because they're going to, when they order the next case or whatever, it's going to be more expensive because there's less of them.
Right.
And Pokemon is used to this swing in supply and demand. Like, it's just, that's what happens over the years. It's either nobody has it, but everybody wants it, or everyone has it and nobody wants it. But we haven't had collectors around long enough that are this desirable to see a year or two ahead. With this large of lottery ticket cards.
Yeah.
And these lottery ticket cards can sell those rip and chip tickets, I think, a lot better. Like the Edgar and the Aether Spark, opposed to a set that has a bunch of serialized, but with its own unique art compared to like just the same art with a number on it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
because like they
They're
still
definitely
have
doing
Brothers War.
serialized better. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I think having this past year under its belt of sets, the amount of hits versus misses with the collector boxes, it's silly to bet against it, I guess. Right now, barring macroeconomics.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a
So
bull
like,
market. We can
so
say.
in a bear market, a bunch of Pokemon can come to market. In a bear market, I don't know how much Magic collectors can come to market.
Yeah, probably not that much because it doesn't seem like there is that much.
Right.
Speaking of Brothers War serialized cards, though, there's only one scrap troller left. It's priced at $43,000.
Dear Lord.
It's not worth that. Let me
No,
tell
it's
you
not.
that.
No.
It
But
looks like
someone's
the last
flexing
sale.
and
The
they're like,
market
I have
price
one.
is 166, right?
Yeah.
So
That's just someone flexing, being like, hey, I have
guessing
one.
the last one I sold was somewhere between 200 and 120. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, 200. 199 was
It's
the
like, I
last
don't want to
sold.
sell it, but if you buy it for this much, sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm actually kind of curious if I have one because I did a while ago buy like basically all of the ones that were cheap, like
Yeah.
around under 200. I think I went and bought everything that was under 200 or close to everything. And that probably would have been one because this freaking scrap trawler, what? Like, it's one of the most common cards in the game. Well, I don't know that for a fact, but it's a very common card.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I see the trajectory. A lot more room to grow and less room to fall in Magic collectors than with Pokemon. There's a lot of people holding Pokemon that really do not care about Pokemon.
They're in it for the tendies.
Yep. And as soon as it's not tendies, they're just going to let it go.
Yep. We've seen this before.
Uh-huh. And Pokemon will just keep running it. It will be there.
That is the one thing that always throws me as a fear factor. It's like, I do not understand their strategy, policy, etc. Because sometimes it feels like they don't reprint stuff, and then other times it feels like they over reprint stuff, but they clearly have a strategy to it, and it continues to be a thing.
Yes, and that's kind of why the booster box is the blue chip of that collecting category, in that, like, you can know for, you can't know for a fact, but you can know pretty certain that they're not going to reprint battle styles, right? Like, it's that old. Like anything previous generation, halfway through a generation, you know they're not going to reprint.
I think we can be sure they're not going to reprint battle styles.
Yes,
they still have battle styles on the shelf. There's no.
I know exactly. So, but I think anything within like 2 years is still.
Yeah.
But then, so you have to kind of take you're throwing your dart at the dartboard for the first 2 years. Is it going to be cheapest on release? Is it going to be cheapest 3 sets from now and people are psyched about something else? Is it like, you don't know?
Yeah.
And then if it gets reprinted, do the reprints matter? Is it large enough? It usually isn't. Unless they're cooling down a bull market, which is what's going on. And them seeing people fight at Costco, I'm sure that's their green flag to, all right, don't turn off the printers until it catches fire. Like, just keep printing.
Yeah.
Like their new ETB is going for double what it should be.
Yeah, they don't like that stuff.
They don't.
Usually. They do react when it gets out of control.
Kids card game.
Yo, this is a financial investment product.
This is a vehicle for me to retire.
With cartoon creatures on it. Yes. Oof. Yes.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Like I said, Pokemon market's dead. Magic's going to die next because macroeconomics in the world is doomed. So
I don't know about all that. Did you want to talk about Star Wars, or did we already cover that?
We covered it enough.
All right. Straight on to economics then?
As long as you're ready, I'm braced for it.
buckle up, Buttercup. That's what Rudy says, right?
Yeah.
So a
I'm
lot
buckled
of
up.
very, we'll call it chaotic economic news, which, fear, uncertainty, and doubt drives markets down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, 2 million jobs were threatened, so middle class jobs and government workers. And based on the government workers I know, which I know a bunch, I had some time around DC, so I just know people. They basically don't know if they're going to have a job later this year or not. The way it's structured, the way the offer was written, kind of semi-threatening, like take this offer now or you might get fired later, sort of thing. And when you have that many people that have that precariousness in their positions introduced into their life, and this was the part I didn't get to, DC people I know are all board game, Magic, card game kinds of nerds because they're all like systems people, right? That's what runs our government agencies is like nerds with PhDs and stuff that like playing games. That's what they do with their money, right?
Yeah,
They buy game stuff, right? So when you have that uncertainty in that particular demographic, I truly do feel you're going to see it impact the sales of games and card games and stuff like that. Because all of them are like, oh, well, I may not have a job by the end of the year. I don't know. So everyone went on like pure don't spend mode. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's 2 million jobs. That's no small amount of jobs, which is where it's
probably
like,
high earners.
well, yeah, they're solidly middle class,
Yeah.
if not upper middle class. I don't think they ever get, I don't ever think they get to upper class because the way the government pay scales work, like you're pretty capped. You will never earn as much as people in the private sector.
Sure.
But you, on average, earn more. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think compared to the average job in the private sector, they will be slightly higher or equal. Whereas, anyways, point being, yes, fairly high earners with disposable income that we're spending it on nerdy stuff like card games. Not doing it so much going forward, I imagine. That will probably hit the markets at some point in the next, call it 6 months, because it wasn't a firing, right? It was a threat. So we don't know how many of them, of the 2 million, are terrified, how many are like, whatever, that's not actually going to happen. How many say freeze all spending, how many say, well, I can still buy a pack of collectors, right? Like I can still afford a box, like I have some savings, you know what I mean? So we don't know how that breaks down into the market. So call it 6 months before we really see any interaction on that. But then there's the other factor. Tariffs have begun as of today. In fact, I think the announcement went out. Canada, Mexico, and China, which does impact basically all core goods, including gas prices.
Sorcery cards.
It affects sorcery cards, but gas prices is probably more important than sorcery cards to the economy. And the reason it matters is because you use gas and oil to transport everything, right?
Yeah.
So it affects everything. And I think the pipeline, I don't know if you guys remember the pipeline that they built from Canada down to, I think it was Texas or something. I don't remember where it went. It went somewhere in the U.S. It was a refinery line. So it was something like 68 or 70% of our gasoline is produced at these refineries at the end of this pipeline that comes from Canada.
Yep.
And so our gas, our U.S. gas, is basically supplied from oil to Canada. And the way it's structured, I just learned this. The way the refinery is set up, you can't just replace it because it's built around that giant pipe. And you can't just plug someone else into that pipe. That's not how it works. Like there's a huge amount of infrastructure into it. So this tariff, which will probably end up with this like trade war thing. In fact, I think Canada already announced they're putting tariffs on our stuff. Like if they hit the energy sector, that's everything that moves in a truck is going to go up in price. And that's everything. That's everything in the country. So when you see that inflation starting to happen, it makes sense why the Fed came out and said we're not lowering rates anymore. We're going to.
That's why they also said inflation's going to be 0.
Who said that?
Our leader.
Oh, I see. Trump said that. Trump people. Yeah.
Don't worry. Tariffs will be fine, and we're going to have 0 inflation.
Yeah, that's not how that works. Yeah, we're gonna have inflation. The question is, how bad is it gonna be, and how long does this like trade war nonsense happen, and what does it affect? Um, so those are the main factors that are pushing onto the markets. You know, call it the next 6 months. I wouldn't say it's tomorrow, but you probably will start seeing some of it in the near term. I just don't know if it'll affect cards.
Shipping
Um,
costs.
what do you mean?
Shipping
Oh,
costs will go up.
yeah, probably, but they were
And they
going up
just went
pretty
up. They've
regularly.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just say they've been doing that like every quarter
Yeah.
for like 4 years now, 3 years, something
Yeah.
like that. Since what's his name, the Joy guy got in there,
Mm-hmm.
because he worked as a private shipper before Trump put him in, and that was before Biden. That was Trump's first term.
Yeah.
He's been in there the whole time. And yeah. The whole time I've been doing the shop thing, like shipping costs have gone up
Yeah.
pretty
Oh yeah.
regularly.
Yeah.
It was every quarter or every 2 quarters, something like that. It was like new stamp cost.
Yep.
So
The best investment. We should start an investment, financial
no,
advice investment
no.
on buying stamps.
Forever stamps?
Forever
No, I
stamps.
refuse. I'm not doing it,
It
Tommy. You're
seems
not making me do it.
what's the percentage increase over the past 3 years?
You
What's
know,
your
it
return?
might be
What's
attractive, so I'm not going to do the math. I'm not going to do the math because that would be insane to go down that route. All right.
I'm just saying.
Well, we're
There
gonna
could be
start
money in
selling them on
stamps.
eBay afterwards. Like, how do
There's
you exit that?
there's
How do you
Dungeons
exit
and
it, Tommy?
Dragons ones out right
No,
now, limited
no,
edition. You got
no, Tommy. No, we're not doing that. Um, Piece of math: 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico will probably cost the average American family around $1,200 a year in additional costs. That's the economic estimate. I had heard 800 before, but I guess this is post the actual details because they're
right,
like on
guessing.
average or whatever before, yeah, kind of based on assumptions. So that stinks. No one likes that. You add in job uncertainty, you're hitting both sides, right? You have less income and more costs. That's a recipe for economic troubles ahead. So, as we've said for the past however many months, don't buy cardboard if you're not willing to hold on for it for 5 years, like in a down market, because the down market could happen. And if it does happen, it's going to be a tough time to move stuff because everyone that's in a dire situation will dump. Like we've seen this when markets crash, people dump at silly prices.
I'm waiting for those.
I was going to say on the opposite side, Tommy and I are both getting our cash ready.
if those, oh man, if it happens and all these people that are holding on to Pokemon boxes and cases,
yeah,
man,
I'm waiting. I think obviously we're in a bull market, not crazy, but I feel like the bear is not far away. Maybe a year, but I am patient. I can wait a year.
Yeah.
My first money is set for the equities market because there will be a moment where we
absolutely
have a crash, and I do believe equities will not only crash first, but almost certainly recover the fastest. They tend to. Just look at all of history, all of crashes, and even the slow recoveries are still like 2 years in modern era.
Yeah,
like basically going back to the 60s or whatever 50s. So I want to take advantage of that as my first and foremost.
Absolutely,
And the secondary, any fun little cardboard things that look tasty.
Yeah,
because there will probably be some nice things. When everyone's afraid, I'm gonna get greedy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as we ride the bull market, today's price is tomorrow's sale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's it. We kind of said some of this might happen, and now it's starting to come into reality. So
another data point.
Yeah, we'll see how it actually plays out, but it's some of it's unexpected. I think the job thing is the most like, whoa, everyone's like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So many of my game channels blew up.
Yep.
Like all my little game groups and like Friday Night Magic group and all this stuff is like, well, I guess I can't buy Magic cards anytime soon. I was like, oh man, that's a worthy talking point, So it is a thing.
But we've already cut supply, so do we just get back to a more normal, less bull, just kind of standard?
That's where I'm like, with all this this shift with like Aether drift size of
Maybe
box,
they
all this
pulled
stuff.
back
I'm
too
like,
far because they were expecting something, and it just hasn't. It just happened later than they were expecting.
yeah, these threats of tariffs have been out there for a while,
So
right?
so they make their pivot a while ago.
Maybe they did. Yeah, maybe that was the beginning of it. And they're like, worst case scenario, it's just bonkers market, which will attract more people. Best
Mm-hmm.
case scenario, we called it right. And we're kind of in a flat situation because we pulled back supply enough to meet the reduction in demand.
Mm-hmm.
They won't get it perfect, but it might be a better landing for them than it's magic soft landing. Than we saw in the past where they basically went bonkers on printing.
Yeah, right. Where there was just too much of it.
Way too much. Yeah. So, anyways, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out through this market, and including what actually happens in the market, because the 2 million jobs were not taken away. There's a threat. There's lawsuits on it. Like, it may not happen at all. It may be very limited. It may be they can only manage to get rid of 5% legally, because there is definitely like labor protections on government workers and stuff. So, could be 6 months from now. Turns out none of it actually really happened. Some small amount of people got laid off, and everyone that's still in the job feels pretty comfortable because XYZ lawsuit, whatever happened, and kind of made them feel like, oh, my job's fine. And then guess what happens? Boom, they're buying again. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So,
And it's a real short couple days, or
yeah. You don't know how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
That's why it's like worth keeping an eye on the market and just watching what happens. And again, play conservative. Be ready for a 5-year hold. All right.
Yeah.
If you buy that way, you're fine.
Yeah.
If you buy trying to flip tendies,
No, that's
best of luck.
No, and it may not be the
Somebody's
5 years.
gonna get
Like,
caught.
right? Like I bought all
Yes.
that Pokemon stuff expecting 5 years,
That's why you
and
buy it that way. Then
yeah,
you get a happy surprise.
yeah. Then you get a
You're like,
happy
oh,
surprise. It's like, oh, it's only been 2 years.
yeah,
Cool.
exactly. So, anyways, same sort of advice we've been saying the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
New data points, though.
Interesting stuff.
Yay.
Well, if the world is still spinning next week,
It will be.
we'll catch you guys later.
Have a good one.